There are people who have been put to death who did not commit the crime. And so I think under that basis, like, look, if you put someone in prison, obviously it's terrible if they didn't actually commit the crime. They're wrongfully convicted. Terrible. But at least we can free them. You know, we can come back from that. Death is final. So if we put someone to death who didn't commit the crime, there's no coming back from that. That is a major injustice. So that's my justification for being against the death penalty. But again, it's not wartime. Charlie Kirk is a citizen of the United States. He's not a soldier. He's not even a politician. He has he had massive amounts of political influence. Anyways, here I need to shift it back because we've been talking about some of this stuff too long. We gotta talk to some of the other panelists here. We have some chats coming through though. Sharky McSharkface. Stop saying pro-choice. That implies you support everyone's freedom to make choices about anything in general, such as getting abortions, vaxes, guns. It's just pro-abortion, not pro-choice. Okay. Well, I think it's fair when you're having these conversations to use the term that the other side or the side, how they want to be referenced as. So in this case, pro-choice people want to be referred to as pro-choice. Pro-life people want to be called pro-life. So I don't think it's fair to do this bias thing where, okay, well, you're pro-murdering babies and I'm not. You know, it's like you have to be charitable and grant the title or the label or whatever. Otherwise, the other side would just say, well, you're not pro-life. You're pro-restricting women's bodies or whatever, some bullshit like that. So you got to be charitable to both sides. Okay, we have Charles Sterling. It never mattered before because we never had men trying to compete in women's sports or going into women's bathrooms in the past. Also, by the way, the men's division is open. It's not if you're a woman and you want to compete with men, there's actually nothing barring women competing from men. It's just the reality that they can't.
Okay.
They can't.
If women aren't choosing to compete against men, I'm not going to tell them to.
You do acknowledge, though, if we're looking at world records, gold medalists in the Olympics, for example. For example, a lot of these sports, men's in races, sprint, for example, men who don't even qualify to run in the Olympics would get gold medals if they competed against women.
I cannot imagine that is true. I understand they have genetic advantages.
You know the website I'm talking about? Oh, Nick's on it. So this is track and field and swimming. There's other stuff too. So
this is boysversuswomen.com.
Yeah, so this is comparing just male high school athletes versus female Olympians. So these are elite level women versus top high school athletes. If boys win against the fastest women, is it fair for males to compete in female-only athletics? So you see the columns there, boys, women. Mm-hmm. Those are all the medals that high school boys would steal from women if those high school boys...
What is this based on?
Why aren't you chiming in?
Wait,
like histogram of placing?
Wait. It's not just based on like conjecture and random like thoughts.
I'm genuinely asking, what is this based on?
So do you know when you do, really simple, you know when you do a race and they have a timer?
Yes.
And they keep a record. Hold on. Yeah. There's literally, it's not just like vibes and feel goodsies.
Yes.
They keep robust records of race times. So they hit the stopwatch.
Yes. I understand how a stopwatch works.
So you realize time is an objective measurement?
Yeah, so is this all just to say that they're faster? This is all to say that that's based on their times.
Men are faster. They're stronger.
Well, no, I understand. I'm saying my answer to the question is just that it's based on their running times.
Correct. There's also higher hurdles for men. There's also bigger balls for them, longer fields, bigger courts.
Okay. I feel the need to reiterate. Let's just say that we separated populations in the way that we separate men and women by people who have super long legs and people who don't. Do you think one of those groups can jump higher? Yes, probably. right? And they probably shouldn't compete in the same division. But we're not separating people based off of that, even if they have a huge advantage.
We actually do. We separate them by grade level. We separate them by age. We separate them by weight class. Exactly.
So are
we-
you
so
trying
we
to tell me,
actually do.
I'm sorry, are you trying to tell me that that means, say, oh, I don't know the Olympic
And
scoring
do
well
you
enough to
know
make that
how
point.
prideful it is to actually argue with a pro athlete about this, who spent their entire life
She played in the
playing
WNBA.
Yes, I understand, but I
sports?
don't think that that gives her total and complete jurisdiction over genetic disadvantages and advantages.
No,
It-
it
it's her
doesn't.
First,
She lived it.
Firsthand anecdotal experience, and she said that she played against men.
She also made the claim that a 5'6" man would beat her in a game, which I don't think he would.
I've played many men, and he might not. But that man is an average
Here,
man,
let's frame it like-
and I am far from an average woman.
Let's frame it like this. Question for you.
What?
I think so.
Can we be
she?
excused?
One sec. She guys. Okay, what you want to talk about? Fucking whores and shit. Whatever. This is This is more interesting. So, anyways, to your point, I think she could beat some men who are 5'8". Absolutely, she could.
I
And
think
have.
she could beat plenty.
But here's the question. She was an elite level WNBA player. Could she beat a 5'8" NBA player? The answer to that is no. And would you agree with that?
Yes, I would agree with that. And I would also agree that, yes, as an elite athlete, I am going to beat some average men and have. But is your average 5'8" woman going to beat your average 5'8" man? No. It is going to take a higher level of woman as far as athleticism. Like Serena Williams is going to go to your average tennis court and beat every man there. But
Yes.
she's Serena Williams. Like, your average woman is not going to do that.
Also,
And
and she's one of the best female players. But if she was ranked among the men, she admitted this herself. Serena, was it Venus or I don't know which one.
Was
the two
Serena.
sisters. She would rank like 400. If she was ranking with the men, she said, "Oh yeah, I would maybe rank in the 400s."
Then why aren't trans people dominating? Trans people are competing and they are not dominating.
Wait, there are examples of trans people dominating.
There are examples of trans people winning. Many trans people are losing. The trans people in sports who are not dominating at their sport aren't being spoken about because
You
they
wanted to weigh
aren't
in?
used as ammunition.
I'm letting her final thought for her. Then I got to move it on. I got to go ahead.
So I am definitely more left-leaning in my ideologies, but I do have to agree. I have been boxing since I was fighting around since I was around 9 years old, and one time I sparred my fiance, and it went on for about 45 minutes, and I was bedridden for about 2 weeks. And my technique, there's nothing, well, of course there's flaws within my technique, but regarding fighting, I am a better fighter, and he beat my ass. And he had only like 1 year of boxing experience. So like, men do have the upper hand, like biological males absolutely do have the upper hand within sparring and sports in general. And I
Yes.
feel that maybe we should not be mixing the two biologically, because I do feel, as a fighter myself and an athlete, it's not fair. I feel that
Also,
way.
for combat sports like her, it's not just somebody else wins the medal. She goes up against a trans woman, but that person could still reasonably have like the physiology, perhaps a slightly weakened state of the physiology of a male. She's getting broken orbital bones. She's literally it's literally harming certain combat athletes if you
Okay.
allow them to compete against a man.
Two things I would like to say on that. I'm not going to speak on combat sports because I think that that is purely strength-based. And when it's purely strength-based, I'm not going to claim that. I like, obviously people still have genetic advantages and disadvantages,
men are
but
faster, like just forget strength. Men
sure.
are
Combat
faster,
sports,
too.
I'm not making a claim on whether or
All
not
sports.
what's
Okay.
going on there. But I would
gonna-
also like to say, I would hope, obviously I've never boxed, I don't know how boxing works, but my understanding of it is it's an athlete's responsibility to understand the force that they are using and to not actually seriously harm people. I would.
Wait, hold on. The literal. Wait, no.
Do you
Hold
think
on.
that they're
That
going
is
to
the
kill each
craziest
other?
thing.
Like, people are capable of killing each other. But if you're in a box, yes.
When you're in like an actual, like there's a difference between sparring, but when
And we're talking about sparring, are we not?
well,
When you're in
hold
a
on, no,
fight.
when you're in actual.
I said I will not comment on whether or not they should be actually competing.
Hold on, no. But to your point about, well, don't the boxers and UFC fighters, aren't they like holding back? No.
I did not reference UFC fights. We were
It's the
discussing
same- it's
sparring. I'm
combat
discussing
sport.
her fight with her
No.
friends.
You're talking about no.
Sure.
Obviously, in sparring, you shouldn't be trying to hurt your sparring partner. But when
Yes.
an actual fight, they're trying to knock you out.
Yeah, which is a
And-
different conversation that I said I will not comment on.
Why would you even bring?
I wanted to discuss. I wanted to say the fact that in
Oh,
sparring.
you're walking this back so much.
Sure.
No, in UFC, I don't care if you're a female fighter, male fighter, the goal is to, you're trying to hurt the person, because if I can knock this person out and by extension give them brain damage, or if I can, fucking like pretty much destroy their knee, the fight's over. They can't potentially give me brain damage. So in combat sports, the stakes are massive. Yes, these people are punching with the full force in an effort. This person needs to be on the ground. I'm going to defend myself so it doesn't happen to me. Yes, that's crazy.
Sorry to interrupt, but I'm hopping on real quick. I don't know what you guys think sparring is, but like you go all out. At least my gym makes me. I remember one time, Ellie, if you're watching, hello, I made my sparring partner Ellie throw up, and then another time she almost gave me a damn near concussion.
You have to
So,
tell them
like,
also that they have to have you matched with, like, if Ellie were to
yes,
sit out or not be there, she can't spar.
I can't spar. Like,
Well,
it's even.
Some
Yeah.
people do like go full blown
That's
in
what
sparring.
we have to, yeah.
But typically, I'd say typically with combat sports, when you're sparring, people will pull their punches a bit, but also in combat sports, the UFC specifically, they're like, you keep going until the ref pulls you off. So you'll see a guy in the UFC, for example, like the guy is clearly close to being incapacitated or is knocked out. You'll see the guys, because they need to make sure they finish the fight. Because there are situations where they think they get the knockout, they do some big walk-off, and it's like, nope, the fight keeps going, then he ends up getting knocked out. In the UFC, the guys will continue punching until the ref pulls them off. Now, some guys will demonstrate some degree of sportsmanship and be like, okay, I've clearly knocked this person out, it's over. But you'll often see the guys keep punching until the ref ends the fight. I gotta move it on, though.
Capt13 donated $200.
Thank you, man.
Share 3 Rachel Dolezal is a white woman who identified as a black woman. She even curled her hair and got a nice spray tan. She's not physically harming anyone, but would you say she is black?
Wasn't she with the NAACP?